signs and I know you're not sure. Make a long stop, ready or not. I see you, but I need to know more. What you wanna do, because I know we didn't dance, but I saw you watching on the dance floor. Maybe at the exit door, and maybe we could talk some more. Oh, yeah. You stand beside me, you're watching me, and I feel it.
Greetings. Good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly Lunch and Learn.
In terms of business, if you have a dream, go for it. Pursue it. Work hard at it, because with anything that you want to do, it's going to come hard work. You know, if you don't put the hard work, if you don't put the time into it, it's not going to flourish the way you want to.
Maybe advice for anybody who's looking to start a business, like, just do it. Start off small and then kind of expand. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but like once you're in it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this long time ago?
Love you. Tell yourself, I love me too. I love you, Amina. Love you.
When you open your heart and your mind, you're opening up to your blessing.
Yeah.
Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn. We are still in Women's Month, so we are still in that vibe of having all of our girls on. And today I have the pleasure of being accompanied by Miss Kelli Cooper. Let's bring Miss Kelli Cooper up to the stage. She is a fellow board member of the Juneteenth Family Day that we are honored to be a part of. Hey girl, hey.
Hey there, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. I'm loving the background. I'm digging the background. We'll talk more about that later. I'm going to ask some questions. I want to know what's going on behind you. I wonder if that's anything that you'll be bringing to the table today.
Yes.
All right, super. So, Kelli, before we dive into our conversation, I would love for you to share with the community a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why. So you're who, what, and why.
Okay, so who am I? I'm Kelli Cooper. I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I grew up there. I graduated there with a bachelor's in psychology. I'm studying counseling. I'm obtaining my master's in counseling, and I'm studying neuropsychology. So in hopes of my nonprofit, I'm hoping to redevelop brain activity and study our brain activity and figure out how we can begin to send the right messages to our brain so our behavior can begin to, basically move faster. We can begin to complete things faster when we build healthy environments and better mental health communities.
Whoa. So wait a minute. I just heard so much in that, and I know just the role that I play in life and some of the things that I'm up to, that would be something that would, first of all, if I had that, my journey would have looked different. I won't say it would have been smoother or better. I don't know. You don't really ever know the future. You can't really tell the what ifs if something was different. We don't ever know what that butterfly effect actually looked like. Of course, we always want to dream that it would have been positive, but we don't know. Sometimes it could have turned out the opposite. So I try to stay away from that area of life, but I'm thinking of the different things. So I coach, and when you're coaching to change like how traumas show up in your body and the patterns that you've done, things that you've done. So for instance, just giving a better example from myself, I have
No.
Bear with us today, folks. Having a little technical difficulties. All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. All right. Yeah, so I was sharing that I've had my throat chakra blocked. So in doing the healing work and removing that, getting stuff out of the way, when you then find your voice, sometimes you find it, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, you cut people off. So now you have something else to understand that there's a new pattern that's grown. So you want to transform those things. You want to transform things that don't work for you, whether it's procrastination, whether it's an unhealthy habit. We want to shift them quickly versus having to like take a longer term. And in my journey of healing, some things I got it like that and it was gone. And some things it just took a while to grasp it. And I'm thinking that what I'm hearing is what you want to do is help people with things like that.
Yes. And so that's the just my whole nonprofit. And so Universal Hands Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and its focus is the revitalization of a Black-owned financial district. And how we'll do that, my vision is by cultivating and creating a new way of living. And the new way of living that we create will inspire a whirlwind of global change mentally, physically, and spiritually. So as we begin to develop this new way of living, it'll begin to inspire others also to want to change. And so that's where the human consciousness will begin to speed up there. And so that's where I'm trying to connect the neuroscience with the building. If we can begin to connect and just build at a faster pace, I believe that we can get a lot of more things done in a little amount of time.
Listen, I am behind you 100%. I will be putting this project on my altar and praying for it for you and for our people, because it's giving me the chills on the inside, because I know that part of it is that's why us as a folks sometimes are so stuck. It's because that mental is still stuck somewhat in slavery. It's like, wow, we've still attained so much, done so much, that feeling like we've never been rewarded what we deserve. So it's like kind of like it's this dance of like wanting to move ahead but still being stuck in this, still not receiving. So it's like if those things could just be like, because I'm thinking that it's like our brains work on their own sometimes. It's like we could tell it something, but until like those two connect and actually really and get each other, I'm like, I've always loved science, but I've never even like, we ain't even gonna touch nothing. Anybody, but I'm like, just the way my brain works, I'm like, I can it makes so much sense. So I'm thinking that I'm hearing that could show up in us changing our stories that we have about money and how we attain it and get it and what we should do to keep it.
Oh yeah. So Universal Hands has 7 areas of focus, which include youth, of course, which includes single parent household intervention, which includes single men and single women intervention. We need intervention there. Universal Hands is focused on redeveloping a curriculum and figuring out what education actually means for our community and what that looks like. Of course, financial literacy, because that's important. Holistic healing is another thing that we're focused on, and as well as mental health. And that's my whole umbrella, because it all falls under mental health. If we can begin to change our environment, which all of these things make up our environment and how we're flourishing in the environment, we can begin to change the things that we are seeing around us, our visual and auditorial intake of certain things in our community. I feel like we can begin to move faster. And so that's my whole just with the recreating the vision of cultivating and creating a new way of living. And the new way of living will begin within all of these areas, even business as well, because Universal Hands has a strategic plan that is focused on with business, as far as, people spending a lot of their time in businesses that don't serve them, people who are taking in employees and not concerned about their health, their family, what's going on, if they're living paycheck to paycheck while they're working under you. I think that those things are should be a concern for business owners, as well as providing sustainable sustainable products for the community to begin to move, because I noticed that we have been picking up a lot of business and business have been growing. But as you know, a lot of businesses fail within the first 10 years. And if we want to create a new way of living, we have to create sustainable businesses that can flourish and last for generations to come, because we're also needing to pass these businesses down. And so one thing Universal Hands is focused on is that if you are in business, make sure that it's a lucrative business that can be passed down, that we know can generate wealth over and over and over again.
I hear that loud and clear. I've been looking at life myself. It's like when you realize, because I'm always amongst healers, and it's like you realize that all of your work is service based. You can't pass that down because you don't know that your child is going to want to heal. Number one, going to two, be gifted with whatever you were gifted with. Like you just don't know. That's not really a tangible thing to pass down as legacy. Not to mention that if you're just living solely off of services, when do you actually live? If you're trying to really sustain your life through services. So it's like, I hear that loud and clear. So it's like, I think about a conundrum, and it's like she speaks all the time about how a lot of our businesses, if people didn't have money, would not be there, because they're things that are like non-necessities.
Yeah.
Thinking about investing. So what I hear is that we should be looking at investing in things that not just that are necessities to the world, but also areas of life that maybe we're passionate about. So, I mean, thinking that if you're a person that is passionate about the homeless, maybe you're in some porty pot business, or I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking along those lines.
Yeah. And I mean, just not looking at business as a only way to profit from your community. You know, I know that a lot of people have this mindset that when they do become successful, that they somehow obtain this success on their own, as if nobody buys the products. It takes people in the background to make you successful. And that's my whole thing with, you know, the business and value, and people who bring something to the table that allows you to be successful. Those things need to be nurtured as well. And so I do encourage anybody, when they are looking into business and investing into business, because it is an investment. Some people quit their 9-to-5s. You lose time with your family. You know, I travel a lot, and my kids, sometimes they're out of school and certain things. And so you want to make sure that you're investing in a business that's going to be, I mean, just worth it for our community. And then, like I said, creating a sustainable environment. One thing we're focused on is trying to cut down our overuse of daily products that we use. And so if we can do that and become more sustainable and more innovative, I feel like that's when we'll create a new way of living, and thus inspiring the world into global change. And I know that for a fact we have the ability to do that. And when we do, it'll look like the reconstruction of Black Wall Street, which is mass amounts of people working together towards a common goal. And I feel like the only way mass amounts of people can come together towards a common goal will be if they are mentally healthy. If you're not mentally healthy and mentally unstable, you know, it causes a lot of the confrontation that we have within the community when we try to come together. It's like, well, I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm not Black, I'm Native American. You know, that has to do with our mental state and why we cannot come together. I'm not from Africa, I'm from America, I'm from Africa, I'm motherland. It's just so many things that are going on within the Black community on the side, as we are trying to literally build ourselves into a position where we can economically compete. And so I just want to make sure that as we're growing and making sure that we're economically competing, that we have the correct businesses and ideas, mindsets, and innovation to economically compete. I mean, tech is rising, you know, businesses are going virtual. A lot of things are going to have to do with self-sustainability and what you can do with your own two hands. And so I believe that that's very important, that people need to start looking into what they actually can provide and do with their own two hands, whether it be building or sewing, cooking, and even cooking, making sure that you're providing healthy alternatives to the community. Because even you invest in cooking, you know, and selling plates and selling food. But if again it's not healthy for the community, then we're turning around and going right back to the old cycle. And so that's not Universal Hand's point. We want to make sure that we're actually repenting or stepping away from those old ways of living or shedding those old skins and becoming something new, a new creation, a new being as we begin to compete financially in this capitalistic system.
Wow. I'm like, I love the little chuckle on the end after all of that powerful, just a hugely powerful statement. And actually, you said two things that are so divine. So I would be remiss to acknowledge that you're actually from the city, and I would love to know the impact that it has on you from being from Tulsa. And I'm sure you, I would love to know, because I don't want to assume that just because people are in Tulsa that automatically they know about Juneteenth. You know, in my mind, I probably have it that, but I also know that that's not really how life works, that every generation and every family doesn't always acknowledge where they came from. Maybe weren't even there then, maybe came later in life and settled down later, you know, so many years forward. So I don't want to assume that that's like a big thing in Tulsa, but did it have any bearing? And how does it tie to your, like, how did this dream come from that at all?
You know, actually in school, we really didn't learn about it a lot. That wasn't really something big taught. Even once we finally start digging into it, the graves and the sites and everything, I mean, just over 9 years ago, really, because it hasn't been that big of a, it's still swept under the rug. And that's why I'm traveling, you know, everywhere to bring light to what happened and reconstructing it. But you know, growing up in Tulsa, it wasn't just the just of Tulsa, you know. And so that's my whole idea with getting Tulsa back on that. Tulsa has rich history. I don't know if you know about it. It used to be the oil capital. They struck oil there when O.W. Gurley moved there. And he's one of the founders of Black Wall Street. They have founded oil and land. And so there's rich history in Tulsa. I think that it's like a hidden gem within the United States that a lot of people don't know about, including Oklahoma as well, because Oklahoma has the most Black towns out of the whole United States in one state. So I think that's important as well. And then also Tulsa, it houses one of the largest Juneteenth celebrations in the United States, which is funny. I'm thinking like most of those people come from the smaller Black towns around Tulsa in Oklahoma, Muskogee, Taft, in those different areas, and they come. And so Juneteenth is actually a nice experience in Tulsa, but for the most part, it wasn't necessarily like in the education curriculum, and it wasn't something that I just kind of got in when I was in school, high school. But after high school, you know, I always had a passion for community work and change, and I always had a drive to help my people. And so I first started, it was women's restoration. I had seen how the movement of women were going, the promiscuity and the sexual liberation and everything. And I was seeing where that was going. And it started as women restoration. My focus was just on women. And then, you know, as I began to progress within my education system and figuring out, you know, all the things that women have their hands in, which is actually the community, the school system, the nutritional side of things, the teaching in the home, the sexual part of it. And so it's like, women had a lot of, you know, hands in different areas within the community. And so I'm like, you know, I need to partner with a man. And so I got with the man, and it was like men and women's restoration. Then we're like, you know, well, men and women have children. So now it's just community restoration, you know? And so we kind of got it from there. And, you know, I'm like, the name Universal Hands, I'm like, it's everybody. We need all hands in on deck. My vision is it's not going to take one. It's not going to, a lot of people say, oh, well, you can get things done on a grassroots level. I don't really care for that type of approach, because we need mass amounts of people. It's always like a little bit, and then they're always infiltrated. But my main thing is just getting mass amounts of people to come together towards one common goal. And the one common goal is restoring a financial district for us. And thus, putting our money all into that. Now, I don't know. Of course, you're familiar with the HR 40 bill there in California. And Sheila Jackson has been working on reparations. And they have been going back and forth about, will people get checks? Will they not get checks? Where the money will go? And so one thing Universal Hands is focused on is using reparations to basically rebuild a financial district. Reparations will be more than just a check. It's going to be more than just anything money can fix. And so I believe that it's going to take all hands in on deck to restore our mental state. And so that's my whole gist of, the community and getting everybody involved and working with it to bring light to what happened and how we can begin to rebuild a financial district. That way it never happens again. We have everywhere to go for all the financial things that may occur. We have mental health, people who are focused on mental health. We have mass amounts of people focused on financial literacy, mass amounts of people redoing the educational curriculum and what they're actually teaching our children. And it's not going to be an easy job. It's going to take more than 5 to 10 people, 20 people. It's going to take organization across different states and moving some people around. And so it's a big vision, but I believe it's coming to life already. It's already happening. And I'm excited about seeing it, and excited about where our people are going within the future, and the power that we have to change. As usual, we shift things all the time. We're the move makers, we're the shift makers, yeah, we're the trendsetters. And so we have this ability to just do something so crazy in this divine moment.
Mm-hmm. I love that. We tell each other to dream big all the time, and we have to do it. Like, why not dream big? You have to dream big, not to mention that it's for a big set of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if we shifting things that much and we have the power, we need the dreams to be big. They can't be small. We would be basically playing ourselves to not dream this big, especially when we see, like you said, what I heard was that it was gone. They did it. They did what they wanted to, and then they brushed it under the rug like they wanted to. So again, I was right not to assume, because my mind, I think that's what was literally in the back of my mind. I wanted to play it safe and talk about people just maybe not educating within the family, but the honest to God truth that was under there is that I know that it was probably hidden in you guys' education, just like it is everywhere else in the country.
Well, from our understanding, as I have begun to dig in and ask the stories, some of the elders were just like, we didn't want to tell you guys because we didn't want you to like have this fear in your heads or like instill that trauma again within you guys. And so they were just saying like, they just didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about, the businesses that they had. They just felt like, that they didn't want to put that pain or trauma within us again. And so actually a friend of mine, I was speaking to him on another podcast, and he stated, that one thing we can do is understand that, yeah, it happened in the past and that was great, but we can also have a vision as to what it might look like for the future. We don't have to look back in the past about how it was and what it could have been. We just can think forward now of what it could be and what it can be, especially with technology now. And I'm big on using technology to make our lives more sustainable and easier. And so I'm excited about us getting more involved in tech and developing new ideas. We have over 500 plus patents. And so when we put that demand, that innovative demand on our people, like it's no telling what we can come up with. And so I'm excited for that part of the innovation with technology and reconstructed a financial district, Black owned, and just moving forward and not looking at the past of what it was, but actually what it's gonna be in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of just like moving forward and looking forward. And then what the coach side of me just picks up also on being just aware of the patterns that happen to us, because what I heard was it's like it's much like in life sometimes when we try something and it gets shut down on that level. Like it's like what just struck me about that is like not only did we lose the people that we lost, but then we lost generations of movement and support through that because of the fear. Because I'm like, you fearing for me and you ain't even telling me something, but you scared for what okay, I get it. That's just how that's a natural people reaction to something when you want to protect your loved ones, because it must, I can't imagine what it must have done to people around that were looking like, ooh, we want to do that, we want to do that. And then that happened, it kind of like shuts you down, and it shut us down for generations and generations. So I love that you're taking the energy of what was good about it and like fully moving full speed ahead and dreaming big and doing the work. I did have a question in regards, and I was so happy that your smile got so big, because I wanted to know what's universal hands. How do you guys look at I've been seeing all of these things with AIs. Actually, someone just dropped a video in one of my groups today with a interview. It looks like a woman is being interviewed, but she's basically an AI. She's a robot, but she is a virtual assistant, and she's basically saying all the things she can do. She can cook for them. She can do all these different things. So, and you also mentioned that that's happening and that we need to have our hands in things and things that we can do to sustain ourselves. So what's the overall universal hands outlook on tech in the direction that it's moving in? And how would you guys like support with that?
I think mostly using it as a healthy alternative and not something that can damage us, and also not something that makes us mentally lazy, because I also see it as making it to where we don't have to think so much, and we don't have to work this muscle, our brain. You don't have to really work it so much now when it comes to AI and the virtual side of things. But Universal Hands encourages, and that's why it's so important, the mental state, because you have to be able to move yourselves in between those two dimensions, because there are two different dimensions. You have the AI, and then you have a natural state of doing things. And so you have to be mentally stable and healthy in order to move yourselves in between those two dimensions. Because as you know, that AI can be used as a tactic against you. And so we have to be studying AI and studying tech, what it looks like, how to read fake news, what things to spot within tech that tells you that that may be an AI or that may be a real person. And then also considering, does that even matter? And at what point does it matter if you're dealing with a real person or AI? When does that matter? And so those are things that we're looking to dig into as soon as possible, so that we begin to use them as something healthy and not as a crutch or something that actually can be to our detriment, if that makes sense.
So I'm going to bring it back and tell you what I heard, because what popped up in my head was when you said things that matter. I'm like, yeah. So in other words, like, you don't want to be the woman at home that now you have the AI changing your baby's pampers or cooking your meals and doing all these things that are part of the family, like the family foundation, what actually builds the family foundation. It's like, yes, that same mother may already have to travel and do other things for a job that she has to actually physically show up for. So if you're doing that and then you have an AI, it's just like, where does the family foundation work? And I thinking over time that's like something that should matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And so those are the two things that you'll have to mentally be stable in order to, understand that you can use AI to make your life easier as far as labor goes, as far as production goes, as far as, interacting and on the business side, because, it'll begin to go into your context. I always love thinking about AI because I'll begin to just randomly talk like AI. I'll be like, Siri, do I have a meeting today? Like, because it's going to get real interesting where it can begin to dig into everything that you have within your computer. And, it'll be like, can you send Juneteenth email saying, and it may even be able to fill in some parts that you don't even want to say. You might just say, talk about, universal hands and what we're doing. And it may just fill in some stuff, and so you may be able to use it on that side, less for labor, that way you can have more time physically for your family, physically to create and cultivate relationships within that family dynamic, because I actually feel like, tech is interfering with the family dynamic, and especially the raising of the kids, as far as, handing them tablets and, letting them watch this or that or TikTok. It's so much going on, and that has everything to do with what we're taking in visually and what we're hearing auditorily. And when we do that, that's what dictates our behavior. And so what we're taking in auditorily and what we're visualizing are the things that we're going to have to begin to control and change. And that's the part of the AI that we'll have to be able to mentally control and take care of and use as leverage for our community, because it could be a detriment, and it kind of already is becoming a detriment. But we have to be able to consciously make the decision and understand that what it's actually doing to our communities and for future generations to come, because we live in the present, which is things that are happening right now. We don't know what will happen in the future, but we kind of do, because what will happen in the future is everything that's already happening from right now within the present, and our behavior that will be passed down. And so we want to make sure that as AI is developing and we're developing and trying to go back to a more holistic type of living, that we also use AI to our advantage to take some of the stress off of us as far as labor goes. But as far as into your families, and if you use it right, you'll have more time. You won't need AI to change your diapers. You won't need, because at some point, if we build this AI too much, it'll be like, what are you doing? Exactly. What do you do?
It'll take over your life. It'll be like, what are you doing for? Because I'm doing everything you should be doing, so you can leave now.
Yeah, and that's why the AI will get mad. It's like, yo, listen, you overworking me. Now you don't do nothing.
I saw Megan recently, and I was just like, I was cracking up. I was like, it's been so long that we've been getting signs of what's to come. It's in the movies. I think we've been seeing it since way, way back when they made like RoboCops and things like that, and what's the other one, when our Total Recall, like we were kind of in this place where it's like, that's not gonna happen, because they're bringing things that kind of make your mind go, oh, that's not real. But then you see the Minority Reports and the things with the tech. It's the tech for me, and the things that they've made tech do in movies, they got that from somewhere, and it's real, and it's already done, and it's behind the scenes. But what I do also love about this tech era is that there's also, so I work in an arena, right? And since COVID has ended, we don't take cash. And the people's reactions every day, it's like, why do we ignore everything that we hear? I've been hearing for years, I can't speak for everyone, but I've been hearing for years that they're trying to get rid of money. They're trying to get rid of the dollar. The dollar is disappearing. The dollar doesn't have the value it used to. Like, I've been hearing it from different ways, different statements, and it's building up. And now the proof is in the pudding. When you have businesses that are like, sorry, that greenback that you have right there, all you can do is tip that person. That's the only thing you can do with it. Yeah. Otherwise, has no value in that building at all whatsoever. It's interesting when you see a person's response, especially, I'm in Atlanta, so like I'm still seeing the wads of cash that are rolling through. And it's just like, imagine having that amount in your hand and it values nothing in that whole entire building.
Oh, yes. And, you have to be consciously hip on this stuff. And this is our community. If you're, just working your 9 to 5, you have to be like spiritually in tune with these things and what's going on. And so, yes, that's been going on. And so that's why Universal Hands is focused on teaching our people how to do things with their own 2 hands, because it's always really been at that point. And that's the just of capitalism. The fact that you think that you need someone to control how you exchange goods, but because you don't provide any of the goods and you can't produce any of these goods with your own two hands, therefore they have to use money and your labor in order for you to obtain those goods. And so I always say, one thing when they say, we don't own any resources, because you'll have to pay for these resources. These are things that we can actually do. You can start your own things, but these are positions that you'll have to pay people for, and you'll have to pay them what they're worth. A lot of people are missing time with their family 12 to 14 hours a day. These are things that nobody has considered. Looking at the everyday employee, during the COVID, they call them the essential workers. Essential meaning important, but they got paid the less. And so those are like things that we're going to have to begin to look at as far as seeing what's actually important. You'll need someone to, however we exchange mails and goods and, delivering goods, you'll need people to, build and grow food. But these are things that if we want to control them, own and operate them, we have to own and operate them. People have to know how to do it with their own two hands. And we have to be able to provide the monetary compensation for it. And I think that that's one of the issues that we have with not owning any resources, because the resources are already there and we have to provide very little for them. But if we wanted to take over resources and provide them for our community, we have to be overly willing to give. And I think that's the sacrifice that we need to be willing to make right now, to just give. Even with Black business, how like they're like, oh, you overcharging, or some, we're so behind in Black business that it's not that it's overcharging, so that we need every dollar. However it goes, we need every dollar to come around. I always explain it like a game of hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot. But if somebody holds the money, now no one else in the circle gets to eat. We got to wait again until the potato comes around, and we don't know when that might happen. And then somebody may get eager to come and steal somebody else's potatoes or kill for the potatoes, because the stomach that's your gut, that's your brain too, that's your mind, it controls you. And so we definitely have to be able to begin to do things with our own two hands, so that those things of the dollar disappearing or not having any worth won't matter to us, because we control and sustain our own communities and provide our own resources. Our people will never be at a need, because I can call Jamie, she knows somebody. I can call, Kelvin, or I could call anybody, Cindy, I could call whoever, and they literally have connections and resources. It's not going to be I can't get you until payday. Like we're going to have a strong network of resources. That way we're not, in that position of where we have people going without again.
I love that. So how does Universal Hands feel about like NFTs and cryptocurrency? Will you guys be teaching that to the community? And then also share, like, what are some of the strides that your business has made, and like what are some of the strides that you'd like to make?
Okay. Well, NFT and crypto. I'm kind of on the fence with it, but I'm always like, we have to move according to how the world, society, and everything is moving. You can't just be scared and say, oh, we're not doing NFTs, and because that's where the wealth and stuff will begin to transfer. And so we have to follow the breadcrumbs, if that makes sense, wherever it goes. Now we're not going to just be silly, picking up every breadcrumb just because it's there. We're going to make sure that we're following the correct breadcrumbs and, picking up the right breadcrumbs or whatever, so that we're making the correct, decisions. So I encourage, getting into it. But I personally, as me, Kelli, being the founder of Universal Hands, don't have any like information as far as that goes with crypto right now. But I encourage people to move, the way society is moving, but in a healthy way. in that matter. And Universal Hands, actually, because it's such a big vision, and like I said, we're not moving on grassroots. And so actually Universal Hands does a lot of different things within the community. We're hosting a community cleanup in Tulsa, Oklahoma on April 1st. And that's just to get the community into a just of cleaning their own communities, providing for their own communities, getting some people to clean out some of their houses and clutter, and understanding why you may be mentally bogged down or can't get anything done because your environment in your house is so cluttered. And so getting people to cultivate a new way of cleanly living in their homes and in their communities, that way they can begin to think more healthier. And so we do little things, food drives, and I've done like vendor events and things like that, and I'm connecting with a bunch of vendors. But my main thing is building a bridge for entrepreneurship and prosperity from the north to the south. And like I said, that will be that network to where when you begin to move, if you want to move from the south, we have networks in the north. And if you want to move from the north, we have networks in the south. You won't just be moving to the south with nothing, no job, no community, no, just picking up and leaving. Or you won't come to the north without any help. We'll have, things set up already, people that can, put you in the right direction already. And so we'll do that by putting together a strategic team. And this team basically will be doctors, lawyers, financial advisors, mental health coaches, educational providers, holistic healers. And this team will go into predominantly Black communities with the unlimited amount of resources or the network to help rebuild that community, but within a timely manner. So we don't have all 2-3 years to help build this community up. With the vast amount of people coming to the community, they instantly get to work 7 days a week until the community becomes a sustainable community, and then they move on to the next and do it again, and then we begin to just connect those communities. But my first is to start with Black Wall Street, because it was there were many Black Wall Streets, but in Tulsa, Oklahoma, this was the heaviest African American community concentrated on African American wealth. And so starting with Black Wall Street, going back to the blueprint, and understanding some of the things that they've done and rebuilding there, since it is the home of Black Wall Street, and then taking that same team into other predominantly Black communities and rebuilding them in a timely manner. With no hesitation, no waiting. And these are things that you'll begin to see Universal Hands within the community. A lot of nonprofits, they do a lot of work, but sometimes you can't really see them. They be in the backdrop, or, they only offer food, which is another thing that Universal Hands is working on, because we have so many people constantly showing up at pantries, and they shouldn't always have to show up at the pantry. Something is going on, and it's mostly what's going on at home. The financial literacy or the education is what needs to be fixed in order to keep these people from constantly coming to the pantry and exhausting the community's resources. Because those resources are good for the community. We need those, but you just can't have people exhausting those services. And so if we reteach financial literacy and educational curriculum redevelopment, then that will keep people from exhausting the community resources, and we can move from there. And so this team that's what it'll do, just move and move and move. We have a map actually here on my board is a map of all the Black massacres. One in New Orleans, Rosewood, of course, New York, Seneca Valley. We have one in Hamsburg and Elaine. And so all of those communities, it's communities that I'm focused on just going back and rebuilding, because they too were financial districts. And so that it's gonna be a lot of work, but I'm looking to connect with everybody, and get everybody on a one-track mind, with their daily activity and with everything. Just saying, you know what, we're rebuilding a financial district, and and coming together and saying, whatever resources we have, whatever people that we know, whatever boulets, whatever we know. Whoever, the entertainers, all these people with this money, I'm talking money that people can come put in the community, $100,000 one day, into any resources and things. The underdogs, people who have been doing work in the community that haven't been getting their recognition that they need, that are really doing work. These projects and things have to be funded, and we don't have time to request this, wait on this 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, waiting on volunteers and things like that. The more money you have, the faster things can go.
Ashe, I often pray that our millionaires and billionaires that are in our communities would often care more about the impact than they do about social media, and like getting into battles and spending time and like even battling with the big companies, like, because I'm not even gonna go into my I'm like, it's Kanye. One of the biggest conundrums for me of our community. He just has so much value, but also like you said, all of those things. To me, he's a prime example of what Universal Hands could impact. If I'm hearing what Universal Hands is, because you're speaking about mental health, you're speaking about the spiritual balance and groundedness, and the education is there, the geniusness is there, but so is all of the trauma from everything else. So it's like it comes out and it's just like, but if that was with Universal Hands, get the heck out the way, world. Because
yes, I'm
hoping the power that we could have. I often go and it's not even just about him. Like I don't bash. Like I don't even have the energy to spend time bashing him, because it would do me a disservice, because he has so much to actually offer if you actually just cut out the and listen and just zone in and listen. And it's so much there, but because of the way it's delivered and the wavelengths and the energy in social media, I feel like it always goes chaotic. But even here in Atlanta alone, it is so much brown money here.
Yeah. I know, that's my main, if I can just get more exposure, more people on my team, more understanding, and just reaching out to these people, because everyday people know these people, and I always tell people, they have these pinky rings and these necklaces that could redo schools. Like, they have so much money. They have ankle bracelets that could, pay off my tuition. Not for nothing. And so it's like, if we could just reach out to those people. But again, that's what I say about, the essential workers versus what's important. Yes, the art is important, but it's like, you could kind of do without rap. You kind of can't do without the garbage man, he's pretty much essential. You really kind of need him. You really can't do without the teachers, Imagine if you paid the teachers how you pay rappers. You can you imagine the desire to want to teach at that level? You imagine the unlimited amount of resources that would be provided to these schools?
I even have it the same, and it's the same thing for even cops. Things would change to me because we have people putting their lives on the line every day when they go outside. Yeah, they can make money, but they have to work so much overtime to make what is considered a lot of money. Yeah. And then they're part of a system that becomes part of the system. Everybody want to get some, and it's just all of it. Yeah. What is that there's a little buzzing going on in the and I actually wanted to speak to this as well, how invaluable this is, because I actually had the opportunity to do just what you want to create. And I came down to Atlanta and came into a job. I brought someone else into a job, and I can bring other people into jobs. And I wasn't able to do that in New York. Mm-hmm. So this is a place that's much like that. So I really am all behind that. Like we have some, I want to go to the chat box a little bit before we start to wrap up, because I did have two other questions for you. But let's see. So let's see. I saw a question from, I believe it was either. So Teresa Scott asked, what can we do to start heading before her program comes out? So I'm thinking that's maybe start healing, or start what can they. So before we go to that question, because I did want to ask this, maybe this is what I need to ask, and then we'll look at the questions. where you are at now, how can the community support you? What is it that we can get from you? What is it that you need from us? Like, where is Universal Hands right now, and what can the community expect to see?
So right now, Universal Hands is focused on putting the team together. Now, on the backdrop of how the community can help, just with their everyday life and being conscious of what's going on and making connections and letting them know, we're rebuilding a financial district, like we actually have a goal now. Not only are we starting businesses and things of that nature, but if any time there's a situation where there are resources in a conversation, you're like, well, you know what, we're rebuilding a financial district. And so that's going to take money to put into our education system and into our financial literacy programs and things of that nature. But actually, Universal Hands is already looking for these people that align with my vision already, and then just watering those to grow. And so it's not like it's Universal Hands is like the dot connector. And so everybody will need to be pouring into their communities, and thus the unlimited amount of resources in the network that we create will begin to be able to pour into those small groups that are already doing things in the community in order to help it move faster. A lot of people are waiting on grants, waiting on money, or even the thing of not having to use the government's money to do these and fund these projects. We need our own money. We need people to give $1, $1, $2, $5, $500. People who are giving towards a lot of things that not for nothing, right? This woman sells ice cream outside of my kids' school here in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And the line's long. We love those little ices, right? And she's like Spanish. This is all black school. And I'm telling my daughter, I got to get this woman out of here because one, she comes here to the community, she making the money and leave. Also, two, here's the school right here asking us for money right now. But somehow nobody can give money. But I see this long line of ice cream people waiting. So that's the money that needs to be given to the school. So those are things that I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together. Get her out of here. One of the parents sell ice cream, and then that money give it to the school, because now we're begging for money from different things and different. We have the money. We just have to make the correct decisions as far as what we're going to do with the money. And so one thing the community can do is, donate, of course, and then support the reconstruction by letting everyone know and getting on board and saying, we're rebuilding a financial district. Like, even if it's not in your hometown, wherever you are, but we're focused on rebuilding a financial district. Our funds, our money. If you run into anybody big, people that can make things happen, politicians and things, let them know, well, actually, we want the money to kind of go into a financial district because that's where it will be safe and held and kept and reproduced and invested,
Love it. I love it. I love it. Kelli, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to have a whole city full of coquito women coming looking for you.
Yeah, I'm ready too, because I'm working with the girl in DR as well. My nonprofit is going to go to DR and do some work as well. So
I love it. Yeah. I'm like, you just flashed me back to summers. I'm like, oh, I want a yellow and green one. I want a lemon lime.
Yeah.
I love it. So this. All right. So I heard that right now it's really about spreading the word and taking on the energy of Universal Hands, taking on the idea of living sustainable and holistically, of starting to get ready to reshift our minds towards food, towards the time spent towards tech, not being afraid of tech. And I heard a lot of what I get from a lot of this conversation is research.
Mm-hmm. That's all I do.
Research, being aware. But honestly, it's invaluable to see it. Like, honestly, it's a little, not mind-blowing, but it's doing something to my energy center when I see that board. And then for you to actually say that it's mapped out and that it actually contains all of the massacres and all of the things that have happened in this country, it's big. but in a way that doesn't really make me sad. It's little tears behind my eyes, but it's actually empowering. It's empowering to see all the information in one place, to see why I have to continue to do what I do every day, why I have to continue to be my purpose and live my purpose and just do my best at everything that I put myself to, because everything that I do is for my community in some form or way or another. And that we all should be kind of doing that, kind of looking at how we're sustaining ourselves,
Yes.
mentally, spiritually. I'm gonna throw in emotionally and physically in there too, because when all that other stuff is it all starts to break down too. When you're overworking yourself because maybe you're not sustaining yourself in other areas, it impacts your body. And then not only that, we hold things in our body that we experience and go through. So, sis.
Yeah, so if we could just spread the word, let them know that in Tulsa we're, rebuilding a financial district. You could donate any way you can. My website is universalhandsfoundation.org. I'm at Facebook and Universal Hands. On Instagram, I'm at Community Restoration. And on my Cash App, I'm at Universal 1921. If you want to donate, and then just start spreading word. Let them know we're rebuilding Black Wall Street. Reach out to me if you have anything, sources or anything. Look into getting more involved in the communities and in the schools and what you eat. More involved in the grocery stores and what they're providing. More involved in our physical and our mental health and in the workplace, and going after more entrepreneurship and cultivating healthier families in 2-parent homes. So if we can just start that, and we're going to be good. It's just all of us collectively, consciously moving towards the right direction. That's all you can help me do. If you just get to moving right, I'm going to get them moving right. We all just moving right. That's it. It's not going to take much. All I need is your collective conscious to just begin to know that we got to build and on one common goal. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
I love it, Kelly. It's been an honor. And I just sharing with the community that we had an opportunity to meet in person last Thursday at an event that the Juneteenth board held for some of us. And it was just amazing. To this energy that you see right here on the screen, it's genuine, it's authentic. I could feel, I didn't really know exactly what we would be talking about at that time when we met, but I knew that it would be something that would be invaluable to our community. It felt like something that would be serious. It's weird because we had a very joking energy.
I know. We had such a good time.
But the conversation also and the energy also felt like here to do something, here to make a difference. So I'm honored to have you today, and I look forward to connecting more down the line and definitely having you back to share what the growth and how it's actually being impacted. Because I have it that this is like a very small, this is like a mustard seed that you brought us here today. And that in the next 6 months to a year, you're going to have are you familiar with Buy Back the Block? And like that. Yeah. I already see this vision where this is going and things like that, where people are going to have peers and have different returns for their whatever level of investment they're able to join. So know, folks, that you may be investing right now and not know fully what you're investing to, but trust and believe that everything that was laid out and the fact that she's partnering with other people and will be partnering with other people that are up to things in this world, trust and believe that this is doable. And if you want in, come on in.
Oh, yeah. Definitely doable. I'll tell them to get on the money train while it's going choo-choo, because we're not waiting. And I'm going to definitely be in Georgia, too. I told Athena I'm looking to come up there and mess up y'all city a little bit and see, the power and the Black power there and the money. So I'm excited to come there and do some work, too. And
I love it. I look forward to it, and I'll definitely be joining in and signing up to be a part of that. So I do have one last question for you before you depart us today, sis. What does Juneteenth mean to you?
Oh, I guess I would say Jubilee, celebration. It means, I don't know, coming together, when I experience it, it's like just coming together and, being a part of something bigger than myself, and and connecting with the past and the present and the future all at once. Kaleidoscope. So I think that's what it is. And one thing I wanted to say last, universal hands verses. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. And so that's what we focused on, our people.
Ashe, sis, and you got this. And I just want to acknowledge and thank Cindy. Cindy dropped in and had a lot of feedback and nourishment for us. And Z and Teresa, thank you for joining us today. And always Athenia here with us.
Thank you, Cindy. That's my friend in DR. She's the one actually I'm going to connect with. We're starting a program in DR to do the same thing and help them rebuild their community as well. And so that's my friend. I'm glad she got on. Thank you, Cindy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I look forward to hearing about that. That's one of my favorite countries that I've had the pleasure to visit thus far. So I am looking forward. And I definitely know that it's a ordained land, and it definitely does need some healing going on over there. So I look forward to what you ladies will be up to over there. I hope that it bridges some of the lines between the
that's what we have. We here.
Because I know that it's too much love felt there. Speaking to my fellow Latinos from DR, I felt too much love on the land, but some of the interactions, and I knew that it had nothing to do with me or that other person, but everything to do with what the world has taught us about our skin, about our differences, about who we are as people. And we've been taught to judge. And I have it that programs and the things that you and Cindy will be up to will shift and change and have everybody living in love and time. So thank you, ladies. I thank y'all already for the work that you're going to do. And thank you to everyone else that was stopped in. Hey, Vincent. Hello, Venetia. Did I say that properly? I hope so. Venetia, beautiful name. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. Kelly, I can't wait for you to come back.
I know I can't. Thank you.
We'll talk about
you soon. I'm gonna see you soon.
I can tell a community we could stay here all day. I know we could.
Yeah. No, you got work. See
you later.
Thank you, guys.
All right, community. Oh gosh, my heart is so full. Thank you to everyone that joined us today. Venetia, thank you. So next week with us, we have the Juneteenth founder will be joining us, speaking about a new project that she is up to. She's always creating new business babies, and she'll be here to share that with us, Miss Athenia Rodney. And thank you everybody for joining us today. And if you aren't already, please like and subscribe and sign up for Juneteenth. Register. Come on out. See you guys next week.
The last call, thinking that I know you're not sure. Make a long stop, ready or not. I see you, but I need to know more. What you wanna do? Cause I know we didn't dance, but I saw you watching on a dance floor. Maybe at the exit door, and maybe we could talk some more. Oh, yeah. You stand beside me, you're watching me, and the feelings.
Greetings. Good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly Lunch and Learn.
In terms of business, if you have a dream, go for it. Pursue it. Work hard at it, because with anything that you want to do, it's going to come hard work. You know, if you don't put the hard work, if you don't put the time into it, it's not going to flourish the way you want to.
Maybe advice for anybody who's looking to start a business, like, just do it. Start off small and then kind of expand. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but like once you're in it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this long time ago?
Love you. Tell yourself, I love me too. I love you, man.
Love you. When you open your heart and your mind, you're opening up to your blessing.
Yeah.